Hello, folks. Welcome to Between Awesome and Disaster. This is your host, Will Carey. I appreciate you tuning in. Hope you, wherever you are in this world, that you are staying safe and doing well. And to any of my international listeners, thanks. I really appreciate that you have decided to check out a podcast by a silly American comedian, but I appreciate it. And having been fortunate enough to travel all over this great big beautiful world of ours, I look forward to being able to see more countries in the eventual future, whenever that is. Today's episode is a really fun one because, as some of you might know who have listened to this show regularly, everything that I do in my life creatively, whether it be music, guitar, bass, stand-up, this podcast, all comes down to the fact that I was exposed to pop punk when at a formative age in my mid to early teens. And over the years, every time I meet somebody who identifies with the same bands or same albums that I do, and it's happened recently on this show, be it any of the members of Goalkeeper, my friend Leo Quinn, my friend and sketchmate and castmate in Backdoor Barbecue, Paul Cohen, which if you enjoy our yearly pop punk roundups, you can look forward to another one of those coming in December. And today's guest is another one of those conversations. My guest on the show today is Pat Kennedy of the pop punk band Light Years. You might also have heard him recently if you checked out the recent No Pressure EP, and it sort of came out of nowhere, the release of the No Pressure EP, and I really enjoyed it. And when the opportunity to talk to Pat came up, I was really excited to learn more about how that project came to be. And then as the conversation evolved, we had a lot in common musically, and this is kind of one of those conversations that I love that happens on the show, where me and the person I'm talking to are just vibing on influences and shared favorite things when it comes to music and entertainment. And this, I really enjoyed this. And if you are not familiar with Pat's band Light Years, definitely check them out. Their first stuff came out in around 2009 through 2010, but their sound to me is very much reminiscent of the pop punk that I listened to when I was in high school in the early 2000s, being like your Blinks, New Found Glory, Relient K, that kind of style of pop punk, compared to the flavor of The Story So Far and Man Overboard and bands that would come in 2010. And we talk a lot about we talk a lot about favorite albums, influences, how he's been this year, given with the release of the No Pressure EP at the same time that the live music business has become inoperable in the time of COVID. So there's a lot to enjoy. There's a lot to think and discuss, and a lot of this was just a really enjoyable conversation that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. If you enjoyed this episode and feel like you know a friend who might be interested in this podcast as well, definitely let them know. I am, you, the listener, are my greatest advocate for growth of this show. So thank you very much for listening and for sharing this with others. We are available wherever you get your podcasts. That would be Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, including the one that I don't know about yet. And if you listen to my show, I'd love to know how you listen. So feel free to hit me up. I'm on Twitter at ComicWillCarey. I'm on Instagram at WillCarey23. So thank you guys again for being here. And let's go to my chat with Pat Kennedy of Light Years. Because I feel a responsibility with when I talk to people nowadays, how have you been faring this year?
Honestly, it's been okay. Obviously, live music went away, which was a big part of my life. But
right,
I'm lucky enough to my one of my best friends growing up opened a pizza shop out here in Cleveland, near Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out Ohio Pie, Northeast Ohio. You got to go. And he's kept me employed. We've been super busy. So I haven't felt the effects as much, minus like mentally, but like financially, I'm still going and
Mm-hmm.
paying my rent. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I really miss shows. I miss all my friends I met through shows, and touring was a huge part of my life. So, but it's honestly at the same time, I've had like a routine at home now, which I've never really had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's kind of like, chilling with my girlfriend all the time now. I don't know if she likes that, but I'm here, so it's cool. So it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, it sucks, but I found like a different way to kind of use my mind, I guess, and I don't know. I found the silver lining, I guess, is what I'm trying to say for my situation at least. I'm sure others have it way worse, which I know they do. So I'm not trying to downplay anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. As you know, just
Yeah,
getting to the next day, I think is what all you need to do right now.
dude.
So
If you do that, you're killing it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because I feel like there was a real rush at the beginning of this. That, oh well, you got time now. You got to do all these things.
Yes.
Well, if you want to, you can do all these things, but it's not
Yeah.
a requirement. Just getting
sure.
through
Dude, I
getting
had
through the day is enough.
Yeah, I had Duolingo going. I was like, I'm gonna learn Spanish. I'm gonna be so smart, and I still didn't get very far. It's too hard.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
haven't
God.
I haven't gotten into learning Japanese yet either. That might be my
Yeah,
2021 project.
yeah. Well, when we're still in quarantine, then you can do that. Yeah.
Exactly. I know you've had a few things going on this year because this no pressure EP I feel like kind of came out of nowhere and then suddenly everybody was really talking about it and really enjoying it. I wanted to ask you
Awesome.
how did this project and EP come about?
So I have known the drummer Harry for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I met Parker through touring over the years ago. And Harry had approached me saying Parker had been interested in doing like a band with him that's like super fast, like kind of aggressive pop punk in the
Uh huh.
vein of like early Blink, Saves the Day, stuff like that. And I was like, well, that is right up my alley. So it was just kind of like he lives in New York, Parker obviously in California, I live in Ohio,
Uh huh.
and I sent these little demos to them like I made, and they loved it. And Harry rolled out to Cleveland. We did one day of recording his drums. I did
Mm-hmm.
my guitars, and then we just shipped it to Parker. He killed it, knocked it out of the park. And we didn't even we weren't like, hey, like this is the chord. You know what I mean? Like it was just
Yeah.
super organic, and like he sent his stuff back. We're like, wow, this is awesome. This was also we did the drums pre-COVID. This
Right.
was like February, I think, January, end of January. It's all a blur, but it was pre all that. And then when COVID hit, it slowed it down because we were hoping to get it out in like March, but like Parker couldn't
Mm-hmm.
get in the studio and stuff. And then yeah, so it was really just like let's do a band that we like, just not to like. It's more of like not a band. We're not gonna like do a lot of stuff because obviously everyone's busy but it was just like let's do this for fun and like totally do it DIY. Like
Yeah.
obviously having Parker involved, there was some spotlight on it, and some of the stories so far, like management guys, like were hitting us up, and Parker's like, no, we want to do this. You know what I mean? Like it was really cool. Just like OG, like you started a band with your friends, and this is what happened. You know what I mean? So it's like really
Yeah.
cool in that aspect.
Yeah. Kind of get back
So
to
yeah,
like kind of once you get into like the pattern of like the music business and the cycle of being a
yeah,
band, it's sometimes easy to kind of forget the sheer excitement of just like getting in a room and like discovering like, oh, these chords together go together, oh, I can put it with
dude,
this,
yes,
the sheer thrill of it. And I think that all shines through, and especially like the first time I listened to it brought me right back to like all of that music that got me really excited and wanting to like play guitar from like the
damn, that's
early
awesome.
the early 2000s, like Through Being Cool, Blink's
Yes,
Untitled record. uh
yes,
that like even the chord changes, that was kind of like stabby, like dun it dun it. I hadn't heard that
yeah,
in a while in pop punk, so it was really nice
for
to
sure.
hear that again. So you would send like guitar demos to the drummer, and then you guys would kind of like formulate complete songs that you'd send to Parker?
Yeah, there was like I just used GarageBand on my iPad, which is as far as my recording knowledge goes. And
Uh-huh.
so I just ripped some riffs and like sent them out to Harry, and he's like, "Yeah, these are cool." And then there was a time I was actually working for, I think it was Turnover. Yeah, so I was on tour with them, and we had a day off in New York, and I took the train over to Harry lives in Brooklyn, and we jammed them out, some of the songs and recorded them on our phone, and we're like, "Oh, these will be good." And then so he, came out, we polished them up in the actual studio, and then
Mm-hmm.
that my friend owns in Cleveland. Yeah, so it was really like, and it wasn't like we weren't thinking hard. We weren't like, oh, like, what I mean? It was like really natural. Like he would play something and be like, it needs to go into this beat, and we'd be like, okay, cool. How about this riff? And you know what I mean? It was just very
Yeah.
like we weren't trying to like make a concept album. It was just like that's sick. Keep the song short, fast, and very fun. So I think we accomplished it at least in my mind. So
Oh, I think so. Like each song is just like everything that is exciting about like punk rock. Like it incorporates so many like excellent stylistic things, and then yeah, it's like whop, and then there you go.
yeah,
It's really fast and exciting.
yeah, for sure.
I was really into it, and
Awesome, thank you.
absolutely, man. What's working with Parker Cannon like? Because people talk about that dude like he's the Brian Wilson of the scene.
I mean, he's a cool dude. I'll say like I said before, like me and Harry sent the instrumentals to him, and without like any sort of guidance, and he just like nailed. I mean, like I was like actually, it was better than I thought it was gonna be. Like when he sent it back to us, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
damn. And he even took like him in his studio, whatever he was working with, this dude Ben. They kind of chopped up a couple of songs and like they rearranged it a little bit, which was like super cool. So it was like working together, but
Hmm.
across the country. And I mean, like I think his voice, when he lets it go like this, is perfect for kind of aggressive, catchy music.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it was like no sweat. Just kind of did his thing, and it was fun.
yeah. Well, I really enjoyed it. I would say kudos to
Awesome, man.
everybody involved. I hope eventually, if there might be another EP in the future, whatever you guys decide.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of leaving it open. We would love to play a show. I don't know about exactly like we never really talked about doing a tour. Like the band, literally the name, No Pressure was like we'll do whatever we want. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Hmm.
pressure from anything to do more than, I mean, if this is all we do, then that's it. But I know we're all excited about it and we'd love to play a show. I think the music is very live worthy,
Mm,
but can't do
definitely.
that right now. And I mean, yeah, we kind of, I could see another EP or something. Be fun.
Very
I'm
cool.
down.
Very cool, man. If you don't mind me asking, what guitar did you use on the EP?
So I have a Mexican Fender Strat,
Mm-hmm.
but I put a humbucker in it,
Uh huh.
the Invader, because try to be like Tom DeLonge, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I used through a Marshall JCM 800. And that was it, pretty much. That was the tone.
Awesome. That is like the
Yeah,
and again, and I'm gonna make the distinction when we get into Light Years. I feel like your style, like I really resonate with because, like I said, it reminds me so much of that early 2000s, like 2000,
yeah,
like 1999 through like maybe like 2004, five kind of pop punk sound, like back
yeah. The
when,
best time.
yeah, that's like the music of my formative years of like coming into
For
myself as
sure.
an
Same.
individual.
Yeah.
So uh
Yes.
100%. I have that Tom DeLonge guitar, and that Invader is like the perfect
Yeah.
pickup for this kind of like fast punk rock. It is so
Yeah.
like
It's so
it
sick.
screams, dude.
Yes. Yeah. I had the dude. One of my life's greatest regrets. I had the Seafoam Green Tom DeLonge tracks. I had to in high school,
Uh-huh.
and I was in a band with someone like in my high school band, and I left it at the drummer's house, and just years went by. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh no, like I don't even know how I get a hold of him now, and then he'd probably just ignore my call. You know what I mean? Like it's just so
Mhm.
I don't know whatever happened to it, but I'm very sad every day because now they go for like so much money, like the original ones too. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
I'll just buy a new one, but it's like, damn, I can't spend like $800 right now. Like,
Yeah,
so
exactly. I have no idea why Fender and Tom don't like get get along
yeah,
anymore. I know he plays the Gibson
yes,
like semi hollow now,
right,
but like
yeah,
if you go on YouTube, and type Tom DeLonge Stratocaster, there are so many like, here's how you make one yourself. Here's how you get
Damn,
that sound.
really?
It's that guitar is like for a certain, I would say for like our generation, I don't know how old you are, but for like our generation of guitar player, that's like the holy grail, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that tone. I remember I wanted to get like a Mesa Boogie triple rectifier because that's like what he used in Enema era. But I was just like,
Mm.
I'll settle for the guitar. But I kind of always fell in love with the 800, so
Hmm.
it gets the job done. But yeah, like that tone is insane. It's kind of classic, you know.
Absolutely, man.
You know.
Yeah, that like pronounced, really pronounced high, really pronounced mid range, a little bit of highs, not a ton of bass, and like like I love like pop punk that exists now, but I feel like, and I've said this on a couple interviews recently, I feel like all the bands decided at a certain point, okay, we're done with Marshall and Mesa, we're moving over to Vox and Orange for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
please adjust your recording schedules accordingly.
right. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I did notice that shift too. It's like, you know, you grow up or something. You got to play an orange now. But I
Mm.
always thought oranges were a little too tinny, but they're still good. I mean, great amps.
Oh, absolutely. Like if shows ever happen again, and if my band ever gets anywhere, I play bass in my current band, so I got the Sans amp to go right
Cool.
into the PA. But that
Perfect.
orange Terror stamp that is like 200
Yeah.
bucks, and you could just plug right into a PA or cabinet.
Yes.
That's the way to go, because you know, lugging half stacks across the Warped Tour festival grounds will make you reassess
Yeah.
your needs very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy what you can do now without having the whole, 8x10 Ampeg stuff, So
Hmm. Yeah, I think
sure.
it's kind of cool. Like I've learned all about amp sims this year,
Hmm.
and like the sounds you can get with not even using amps at all. Just the technology is amazing. Because I've been out of like
Yeah.
doing home recording for so long, and there's so much you can do with computer programs nowadays.
It is crazy. A lot of bands I know use like Kemper heads now, so they don't
Hmm.
even need like a cab. But like, there's still something about because I'll watch them and like there's something about just not having the amp. You know what I mean? Like the feeling is gone almost. But I mean, you
Hmm.
couldn't tell. Like the average person's not gonna be like, oh, that's a Kemper, not an actual 5150, whatever. But like, it's just to me like being a purist, I guess. I still love just like the plugging into an amp and like it's right there in front of you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I
Like
do, and I wonder if there's a
that's me.
I wonder if there's a similar moment for you than that there was for me. Like when I first like heard like heavy music, or I'll say I remember hearing the song that made me want to pick up guitar, and I remember like plugging plugging an electric guitar into the amp and hearing that little crackle sound like that,
Dude,
and
yeah.
then you hit that first like open E minor, and you're just like, yes.
Dude, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. It's such a cool yeah, I can remember that too, just being like, oh my God, it's powerful. And it's like tiny little combo amp I had growing up, but just still sick.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome.
Was there a particular record that you heard that made you want to play music? Was there like a patient
It was
zero for you?
definitely Enema of the State. I was
Yeah.
I came out. I mean, I'm 33 now, so I was in like seventh grade,
Hmm.
and I didn't really like my dad was a super good guitar player, but he was really like blues, country,
Hmm.
like he was incredible. Like looking back, but I was like, I don't care about Stevie Ray Vaughan, and but I remember I heard Emma State, and I was like, oh, dude, like what is it? You know what I mean? Like what is going on in my mind right now? Like it was crazy,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget like because I was listening to it like super loud, and my dad came in with the guitar and just started like playing along with it because I mean, it's three chord songs,
Yep.
and my mind was like, oh, like I can do that, like holy shit, like show me how to do that right now. And so like I remember learning like "Don't Leave Me" or something, and like I was just like, it was over, like that was it. Like I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life, I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. And so I just I've been a huge Blink head. So are Parker and Harry. So I think that's where like
Hmm.
the inspo for a lot of No Pressure stuff was. But like I just
Yeah.
followed them ever since, and specifically a Tom guy. But I don't really count the Skeevy years as pure Blink, but
Yeah.
it's a different combo. But
It
yeah,
yeah,
it was
it's
definitely Enema
different, but
State. it charged me up, and I still listen to it all the time. Like I listened to it the other day. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
the songs are just so incredible, and like I was saying earlier, like even like outside of the guitar, like that mixing of Marshall and Mesa that Jerry Finn did on Enema the State, that was like the sound that that everybody who picked up a guitar, I think, in that era was chasing. They all wanted to
yeah.
sound like Tom DeLonge. I
Oh,
that's
dude, 100%.
exactly the same record. I remember I wanted Enema of the State because I had Now That's What I Call Music Volume 3, and I had
Okay.
that cuz I wanted to listen to All Star by Smash Mouth cuz I was like 13 and it was
Perfect. I mean, yeah, that's
1999.
how it happens.
And then I get down to What's My Age Again. I'm like, I never heard like dun, 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 dun. I never heard arpeggios before, and I was
Yeah.
like, I want more of that. And then when I eventually got the album, just hearing that na 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 of Dumpweed, I was
Dude,
like,
yeah.
okay, I now have some direction. Because before that, I was probably going to be like a lonely gamer kid and work
Hell
at
yeah,
Target for
dude.
the rest of my life.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy how music can like yeah, because like I mean at the time most of my friends were listening to like mainstream. I remember like Jay-Z was like really
Hmm.
big. I mean he still is, but like and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I'll listen to it. You know what I mean? Like Eminem had just came out. It was like crazy, but like a
Yeah,
little before. But and then it was just weird, like something about that music, like you know what I mean? And then I don't know, literally changed the trajectory of our lives, which is crazy to say, but
yeah.
it's true.
Well,
This is
it's
on you, Tom.
yeah.
My life failures.
That's like how. Well, that's just how like how powerful I think music can be. It's
Yeah,
like you can
yeah,
just make somebody's entire life plan swerve hard
yeah,
to the right. And
yeah.
I credit like I did like DIY culture because I eventually found like punk rock and the whole DIY scene, like any kind of business skills that I have, I probably learned
Hmm.
because like well, or marketing skills. Like well, okay, I got to learn it for my creative career.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it all comes back to the
Yeah,
to Tom DeLonge and
dude, that guy, man.
yeah.
It is crazy, and it's also crazy when I meet people now, and like they're just like not into music like at all. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's just kind of like it's just like weird to me. Like I don't know, kind of freaks me out. But like a
Yeah.
lot, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just because my circle of people are all so heavily involved in music, and it's been a thing. But like you meet people, and they're just like whatever's on the radio, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, there your taste kind
You
of
know, like
changes
it's
with
just like weird. Never hit someone like I don't know. I don't know. We're getting too deep here, man. It's
um
freaking me out. I'm starting to talk about my feelings.
I aspire to be the pop punk version of Mark Maron is how I go when I approach
Okay.
this
Hey, there
podcast.
you go.
And are you originally from Ohio?
I grew up in Ohio. I was born in Maine, only lived there for a little bit, and
Mm.
family moved to Ohio. So grew up here my whole life pretty much.
Okay. And what part of Ohio specifically?
I live in it's Lakewood. It's right next to Cleveland. I grew up in a suburb a couple miles south of
Hmm.
here, so
Okay. So
Northeast Ohio whole time.
yeah,
Cleveland guy, pretty much.
right on. I've heard some. I've never been to Cleveland, but I've heard some good things about like the art
Yeah,
scene and the food scene there.
yeah. Actually, the Cleveland Museum of Art is I used to frequent it. It is very like world renowned. I guess I did not know that. I just kind of took it for granted growing up. But yeah, we got the Cleveland Orchestra, which is also a huge deal.
Hmm. Did you go
Very,
to the
yes.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame growing up?
I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a couple times. It is like I recommend going, but it's kind of like a one and done.
Hmm.
Like I don't know how many times I'm gonna go see Bono's sunglasses, but it is very cool to see. There was Tom DeLonge they had the outfit from All the Small Things, the bulletproof vest, like boy band
Oh yeah, yeah.
outfit they wore. So that was like, oh, that's the coolest thing here. And then I mean, it's really cool, but it's also like I'm not going
Hmm.
again.
No, sure.
But they do cool exhibits, they do live shows all the time, which are very sick, but
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
not like I don't know. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. It's kind of like the
It's worth going to.
your dad's heroes. I would imagine.
Yes, 100%. It's all Led Zeppelin, like, which is cool, but
Zeppelin,
you know,
Hendrix, CCR.
yeah,
That.
the very important things. But
Hmm.
I get it, but I don't care as much as you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean because I remember, because I'm originally from Maryland, so I spent a lot of time, in the truck with my dad, and he would like play stuff, and he would. I remember I remember finding Stairway to Heaven boring the first time he played it for me. When he played Ted Nugent, I laughed at him.
Yeah.
The one tape that the one CD that he did get through to me was Don McLean. I always liked American
Okay. Yeah.
Pie and
Yeah.
would play that a lot.
Good
So
songwriter.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
when
was
you're
a fan of AC/DC. Was like I don't know why. Like, I think one of the first things I learned was I was Back in Black, but I remember thinking like, okay, this band's cool, like for classic rock, but they're a
Mhm.
little dirtier. I don't know,
Oh
a little more
yeah.
punk.
Exactly. I feel the same way about ACDC. Like there's a through line to from them to punk because those songs are like you can pick up a guitar and learn an ACDC song on
Yeah.
your first day. I've been thinking about this week because of Eddie Van Halen's passing. I think without Eddie Van Halen, you don't have math rock or Midwest emo.
Hey, the tapping dude. That's right.
Yeah, I think it
He was the
all.
tapper guy. Yeah,
Yeah, because
he's to blame.
yeah, because that was probably the first thing that lots of those bands heard, and it was like,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of cool. I don't know if I want to do the whole like metal thing. So maybe if I just get a
Right.
Telecaster and a compressor pedal.
Yeah. Put a capo on it. I'm good. There you go.
Absolutely,
That's yeah, yeah. It stems back to Van Halen. Very influential. That's
absolutely.
crazy.
That'll be my first. I saw somebody. I saw somebody else say that. So if I don't want anyone to get mad at me if you wrote that first, but I think there's absolutely
No,
a
take
clear.
credit for it.
There's
Yeah.
absolutely a clear connection there, and
Yes.
okay, so you're growing up outside of Cleveland, and when you're like when you're getting into punk rock, is there any kind of local scene in the Cleveland area for punk or hardcore or anything like that?
Cleveland was especially early 2000s was huge, like hardcore metal
Mm-hmm.
scene, and we had a lot of we had a lot of really cool venues to play growing up. I mean, I was always trying to start pop punk bands, but we would
Uh huh.
eventually be playing hardcore shows. You know what I mean? Just because of how if we wanted to play, it was with these bands like this band Integrity. They're still like the Kings. You know what I mean? They're just a
Mm-hmm.
huge band from here, and so a lot of bands were like very metallic, very hardcore.
Yeah.
And as like, I mean, yeah, after high school, we were just playing like DIY hardcore shows. There was really cool venues run by our friends in their abandoned houses. You know what I mean? It was wild time for a
Yeah.
while. I sound like an old guy now, but it wasn't like it used to be. So yeah, and that was when my band Light Years first started playing shows. It was all these DIY hardcore shows, and I'd play guitar in other friends' hardcore bands, and but it was where I met most of the majority of my friends that I have to this day. We're in like 2005. This place called the Tower, which was just a mayhem.
Uh huh.
2000, maybe later than that. I don't know. But yeah, so they had a pretty good scene. Luckily, we were able to weasel our way in and make some friends, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's cool. I think it's definitely. I mean, obviously, right now it's going down, but there's still a pretty. I see a pretty healthy crop of younger kids still booking shows at these venues, and so Cleveland's doing pretty good, I would say, locally. I don't know. It seems a lot of tours kind of skip it recently, but I don't know what that. It's about money, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think we're doing okay out here. Akron, which is pretty close to us, also has a very good scene right now. Does a lot of DIY house shows there. So yeah,
Very cool. Hardcore will always exist. There will always be kids putting on shows in basements or in their
yeah,
houses or like I don't know if you've seen that YouTube clip of a hardcore band. I guess they threw a show at a Denny's somewhere in Ohio. I
yeah.
think.
How did that happen? Like that's awesome.
I love that I love that stuff like that happens. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Somebody's probably getting fired over
Oh,
that, but
absolutely. Yeah, it is true. Like, because there'll always be a venue and like someone has a hardcore show, and like I'm like, how did this get like approved? And then someone punches a hole in the wall, and they're like, okay, well now we have to find another place. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
so it's always. I think that if you want to put on a hardcore show, you have to be pretty persistent throughout where you're gonna put it on. So I guess
Yeah.
that's what helps.
Yeah, that's kind of like what comedy is like in New York right now because the laws specifically for during the quarantine name comedy shows along with exotic dancing as not okay for indoor ticketed events right now. I'm not sure if it's
Okay.
changed. So like all the shows are still happening. I went to a couple of great shows over the summer, like in parking lots, but now they're all on rooftops and they don't give the address out until after you buy a ticket, like the day of. It's like super.
Oh, cool.
It's a
Yeah.
super. It's this
Very.
like super secretive like underground network of jokes.
Yeah. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Punk rock comedy, dude.
Yeah, I'm hoping to like when I first moved here 10 years ago, uh I was thinking that maybe I'll perform at the Comedy Cellar someday or Gotham like the big
Yeah.
clubs. But now I'm like, oh, maybe I could get on the show at the diner down the street because
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
yeah, I
That's
think
cool.
lots of like the alt comedy scene I think owes a big debt to DIY culture and to punk rock for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Light Years, it actually doesn't sound that too weird to me that Light Years would come out of this scene because I feel like as long as you're like, pop punk dudes are and dudettes are cool dudes and hardcore people are cool. As long as everyone's cool, I imagine it would work out. So you were playing like very melodic punk rock with hardcore bands, and what was that like when Light Years was beginning?
I mean, in Cleveland, it was very cool because we had a lot of crossover friends, and like, I mean, that was just the shows that I knew to go to. You know what I mean? So that I knew
Mm-hmm.
the dudes booking the shows. I was like, oh, we can play like with this band. I remember one of our first shows was with this band called Forfeit from New York, Syracuse area, and it was a super heavy band. But
Mm-hmm.
everyone was very accepting for the most part. I mean, like some people called it little girl music, but like it's still
Right.
like it was
There's always a
cool,
few assholes.
Yeah, the old guys, which are now me. But yeah, it was fun. It was like, no cool guy stuff, and I don't know. I think it definitely once again showed us like, oh, you can just go on tour. Like, I mean, these hardcore bands they would just go on tour, play to wherever, to whoever, and I was like, oh shit, we could do that. You know what I mean? So like,
Uh
it was kind of like, it really, they're just playing because they want to. Obviously, no one's making any money, and I was like, that, yeah, I can do that. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
that's what we did.
There's nothing stopping you from emailing a club to try to
Oh,
get on a show and
yeah,
then
yeah, and
doing
it's
that
just like.
and then doing
Yeah,
that over and over again. So that's how
yeah,
Light Years started touring. Like you would just like hit up clubs like, hey, can we come play? Here's our demo or our band camp or what have you.
right. We would do the first time we ever left town was with a band called Bike Tough. They're from Michigan. I think they still play. They're more of the kind of fest vibe. I don't know how to describe it, like punk rock, but
Mm-hmm.
very nice. And yeah, we did like it was like 4 days, and we're like, oh my god, we're going on tour. This is sick. What do I pack? You know what I mean? And like it was
Right.
just like we played like a VFW hall and like some just crummy bars and stuff. No one came to any shows, and it was
Right.
the best time. But our friend, who at the time was booking a lot of shows in Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
his goal, which he does now successfully, is a actual booking agent. He works at APA, and
Oh wow.
he was like, I'm gonna try to book you guys a tour. Like I'm gonna do that. Like he had never done it, and so I was like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. And so he started booking us, and then we would get these shows, and it was crazy. And then somehow he convinced, because like that band Citizen is from near us,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing stuff with them, and now he's a full-time booking agent, which is crazy. Represents a lot of cool bands. But yeah, we started with him too at the same time. We were just like, let's try and do this. How does it work? And
Uh-huh.
made a lot of connections. It's crazy because a lot of people that we met like in the beginning that booked us in Michigan or the surrounding states have like, they're still doing the same thing but like bigger. Like I know the one
Yeah.
guy runs a whole company in Michigan now. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see the people that stayed in the music. Well, they're probably screwed right now, but I'm sorry.
Right.
But
You see those
it's really cool to
people.
see like everyone grow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very cool.
Absolutely. That's very very cool to see, and also for any bands listening, be cool to everybody that you work with because
100%.
they will continue to they will continue to advance.
Yeah.
That's
There's been plenty of times where we got booked and like the dude knew for sure he wasn't gonna make any money. You know what I mean? I have
Yeah.
friends that booked this a million times, and it was just like, oh, Light Years is coming, like whatever, like no one's gonna come. But you know what I mean? Like it was
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I mean? And so like it's
I do.
that
Yeah.
courtesy, and like people remember if you're a dickhead more than if you're like, you know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, that them, they were assholes. Like don't book whoever. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Totally.
yeah, I that's the best advice is just be nice to everybody. You're all on the same team. You know.
Mm-hmm. And so,
And you remember the people that are like, quote unquote bigger or on top, that are nice to you because you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like
I
that
one
like always resonated with me.
I 100% know what you mean. I remember every comic when I used to be a doorman at a comedy club, and I remember every comic that gave me the time of day because everyone on the staff was like trying to be an actor, trying to be a comedian. Like the comics that came in and were cool and like hung out afterwards. I will always remember that. Carl LeBove, he's a comic. He used to tour with Sam Kinison back in the 80s.
Okay.
He was very nice to me when I saw him for like a week of shows in New York, and then he was nice to me when I ran into him in Vegas years later. Um,
Damn.
that stuff resonates 100%. That'll last a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
conversely, everyone who's wronged me, you're on a list. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I still might have it. It's called the smash list. Like everyone that wronged us, we're like, one day they're
Right.
going to ask us for something and we're saying no.
Exactly.
But I think I can't care anymore.
Yeah.
But
And
true.
so Light Years, like, so you start with doing DIY touring, and I know you did a couple of releases with Vinny of formerly of Less Than Jake's label Paper and Plastic. How did that come about?
So that was our first full length. It was called I Won't Hold This Against You.
I
And
listened to
we
it today. It's
recorded
really
it.
good.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Um, we recorded it, and it was actually kind of a weird thing. We were gonna just put it out in this label in Cleveland. Our
Mm-hmm.
friend runs. We're still friends with him. And it's some people that it was when Property of Zach was like popular. If you remember that website. And the dude that runs that heard it was like, oh, I'm gonna link you up with Vinny. And like
Mm-hmm.
we had like a little team. It was like looking back, kind of like a little too fast, I think, for us because I don't know. But Vinny was great. Paper and Plastic,
Mm-hmm.
awesome label, and we got to. It was like my first time. Like we were on tour, and he's like, "Come to the warehouse." Like you like hear about bands doing that and like seeing it on stuff, and it was like really really fun to be like, "Oh shit!" Like he's like, "Yeah, take whatever you want," and I was like, "Wow." Like yeah, I felt like I made it. You know what I mean? Like the drummer
Yeah.
must have Jake let me go through his warehouse, and we all just kind of like took stuff because we thought we had to. It was really cool. It
Uh-huh.
was fun. That I really like that record. I don't know. I don't think the world was ready for it yet. We were,
Yeah.
but
That came out in
it was
what,
cool.
2013 was that record?
I believe so. Yeah, 13. Yeah, because then had to be around there. My mind is a mess, dude.
Oh,
Especially when it comes to years.
I no problem at all. I will say
Yeah.
I enjoyed that record immensely. To me, um it was that perfect combination of it reminded me of again what I loved about punk rock. It had lots of the melodic influences, but also it had like D beats and like super fast like
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
and super fast chain palm mutes and all that stuff that I come to love with punk rock. So I thought it was a great record. Um,
Yeah. Thanks.
um, what was I going to ask you? Oh, I wanted to ask you. So was this your first time recording when you did the full length, or did you put out anything before that? Because I when I started playing in bands and then started going into the studio, there was like a good like 15 minutes where when I first got into the studio and put on headphones, where I was like, do I even know how to play this instrument anymore? What am I
Yes.
even doing? What am I doing
Why?
here?
Yeah. How did I get here? Yeah. We had done two like EPs before that we did in
Mm-hmm.
the studio in Cleveland, but I know exactly what you mean. Even sometimes when I record stuff in my house, I'm like, I play it perfectly, and then go to hit record on my fucking iPhone, and I'm like, oh shit, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like just hearing
Yeah.
like a metronome like triggers me to like mess up. But yeah, yeah. So we did that, and then that was our first like full length recording. We got to work with Will Yip, out in Philly, and which was like awesome. We
Hmm.
continued to work with, but it was a really we were in at like this incredible studio we shouldn't have been at. You know what I mean? And Will was just cool enough to let us come. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You just get kind of like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, like
I do this.
yeah, like this year of like teaching myself how to do home recording from like YouTube and with like Easy Drummer, I'm just like, how do you determine? I don't know. I was like, I don't know how to determine what key a song's in, how many beats per minute.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Can I just I'll download an app and
Does
just like it kind of goes like
it?
this.
Yeah, for sure,
That those are
for
my
sure.
struggles this year.
Yeah,
Like,
it's write the song and then all that stuff doesn't matter.
okay, I'll try to keep that in mind.
Try to
Uh,
do that. Yeah.
and and I also know you did a little bit of touring internationally in Europe, right?
Yeah, Light Years. We got to do a lot of cool stuff. We did Europe a couple times, the UK, Japan was definitely the best.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we did a lot. It was fun, very fun. Hope to do more, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I want
we
that.
haven't got old.
I
Yeah.
want that for you too. Every time, cause I've been to Japan a couple times. Every time that comes up on this show, uh, I would love to know more about the Japan tour because I've heard that the crowds in Japan are incredible, and I love. There's so many great bands in Japan. I could go on for hours.
Nice, nice. Yeah, dude, Japan is definitely one of the highlights of my life. Like,
Hmm.
because we never really got like quote unquote successful. You know what I mean? But like, we toured Japan. We went with that band Fireworks, which was awesome. The
Yeah,
shows were crazy, and like we were getting like better reactions in Tokyo than we do in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
2 hours from where you know what I mean? Like it was crazy. I was like, how did these people latch onto it across the world that you know don't really even speak our language? I mean, they
Hmm.
obviously everyone can kind of speak English, which is a whole nother crazy point that they can do that. But
Yeah,
it was like such an awesome feeling, and then like to think like, oh, we have to go home. And we're gonna do a tour and play Cincinnati, and no one will care. You know what I mean? But it's like
hmm,
it's just like, it was like one of those mind-boggling moments, and like there was like random cities in like Belgium that like loved Light Years, and it was just like this is so cool. Like how did this like you know what I mean? It was just is wild.
uh-huh.
But Japan, 100% coolest place I've ever been, nicest people,
Yep.
cleanest cities. It's crazy
Oh yeah.
like these massive cities and it's just like spotless and I'm like damn America sucks.
I know.
But
Like the first time I was in Tokyo, and I was like, there are hardly any trash cans. So wait, you mean people just are expected to take their trash and with them until they can throw it away, and they do it?
what a surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's like
wild.
what a concept, and that's the same
Yeah.
way. I feel the same way this year. It's like, oh, no wonder nobody wants Americans in their country right now.
Yes, yes, it makes sense. Yeah, but I mean I love Japan. Like everything about it was awesome. Tour was great. The people. It was like those like the hot drinks out of a vending machine. Did you ever do that? Like I would get like a hot coffee in a can. I was like, how did this get warm in there? It's crazy. Like the technology is sweet.
I did do that. Well,
Yeah,
when I could use my subway card on at a vending machine, I was like, my mind is just I can't
yeah,
this country's too much for me. I can't handle it.
yeah.
I loved it though. I walked by. I spent a lot of my money at the Tower Records in Shibuya, um, a,
Okay,
a couple times,
I
and
didn't get to go there. Yeah,
it's pretty excellent. I had no idea Tower. I thought Tower Records was done like for forever, but
yeah.
they have like a 3 to 5 story uh,
Wow.
store in the middle of Shibuya, which would be like the Times Square of Tokyo, and it was I was just out. I was just like blown. My mind just exploded because first off, you go up to the top and there's like a J-pop band doing a very choreographed, rehearsed in-store performance, and there's like 100 high schoolers that are just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then and when I started getting to when I started getting to travel a bit more, and I realized, oh, there's punk around the world. So I was like, oh, I wonder if there's any punk in Japan, and there's literally an entire section labeled J-punk. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Here is all of my money.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's how I found out. That's how I discovered like a Secret Seven line, who are like a big band over there, High Standard. A band called Septiluck, who are a really great pop punk band.
Okay, I'll
There's
check them out.
Yeah, I made a playlist for Chris Amato from Hidden Plainview. I'll send it to you. I think there's
Okay, yeah.
some cool stuff on there you might dig.
We played with a band called Alternative Medicine. I don't know if you ever heard them.
I love them.
They were very good. Yeah, they were great. Um, and there was this other band. They were very like title fighty. They were called And Protector, which I've also listened to since I came home. So you might want to check them out if you haven't. Maybe you have.
What was the last one called?
They're called And Protector, I believe.
End Protector. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they're like
listen to that.
kind of more like title fight,
Cool. So
rock.
kind of like
But
alternate
they
tunings.
were yes, yeah, they were very cool. And yeah, that's cool. Alternative medicine. You already know about them. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
And
I have I have their full length, the one that has like box logo on it, and that song they did with
mhm.
the guy from State Champs. That's a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
that's a great record.
yeah.
Another band I'd recommend you might enjoy is a band called the Winking Owl. They went on
Okay.
hiatus this year, but they have an album called Thank You Love Letter that came out last year. That was like my favorite album of 2019.
Nice.
It,
Damn. All right.
I would describe
Winking
them as
owl.
yeah, I would describe them as Paramore with a more interesting lead guitar.
Okay, that's what Paramore needs.
Yeah,
Nice.
their stuff is really enjoyable. Um, just
Awesome.
another more, I guess, more practical question. When you tour internationally, are you shipping like your guitars and and your amps over there, or do you have a more streamlined setup that you do when you play international shows?
So we'll bring guitars, and our drummer will bring his snare drum, and sometimes cymbals. We can creatively pack them some way,
Hmm.
but we'll always kind of either rent a backline from someone, or we contact the band we're with and be like the last time Light Years did the UK, we had a band from they were called Coast to Coast. They opened,
Hmm.
and we just used their stuff. We just asked if we could use your amps. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we're not at a point where we can, you know, we're not all time low. So
Yeah. No. No. Totally.
yeah, it's kind of like a take what you can get. Like in Japan, a lot of the venues have a backline for the bands,
Uh
so
huh.
we would just show up and be like, "This is what you got tonight," and it's like, "Cool, we'll make it work." Like, you know what I mean? So if you have pedals and stuff, you're fine. Like our bass player always brings a Sans amp, and we're good. But
Cool.
yeah, it's mostly just the guitars, which is kind of a nightmare sometimes. But they've made it, knock on wood, every time. No
Yeah.
problem, no major problems for us. But I do know bands like I mean, huge bands will just they have their own UK backline, they have their own Australia backline where they just have a warehouse they sit until they show up, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think that's how I think Wheatus might operate like that. Either that, or I think because Brandon, I've heard, is very specific about his sound, so he'll like find like the obscure gear that's not made anymore, so that and
Yeah,
ship all that. Um,
yeah,
yeah, UK has like lots of really great pop punk is coming out of the UK nowadays. Also, how were those shows?
they were great. We got to do, I think it was 2017, 16. We did a tour with Neck Deep over there,
Hmm.
and obviously those were literally they're like rock stars there, so it was insane. But I think that really helped us the next time we went because some of those kids were like, "Oh, I was at that show," and so they have a pretty good vibe there. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I still haven't quite figured out like how the seeds of pop punk got rooted over there in in the UK. If I had to, I think Drive Through Records they did a couple of like label tours over there when like they would ship a lot of their bands over there. So that's my first thought. But
Yeah. I know. I mean, talking to the Neck Deep guys, it was Blink for them, at least for the most part. They
mhm,
loved that. And then,
full
but yeah,
circle.
as far as like, yeah, that's how it goes, man. So, but yeah, I know. Yeah, Drive Through probably did some stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, full circle. It all comes back
Yeah.
to all
It
comes
all
back
comes
to
back to
Blink.
Tom, dude. It all comes back to Tom.
Yeah,
My
I
entire
saw
life.
I saw Angels and Airwaves live in New York this same day that the New York Times article came out that basically proved that he proved that aliens existed.
Yeah,
That was a really fun day to see
I
Tom
bet he
DeLonge
was
live.
amped. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and the other cool thing was because I guess when he left Blink again, I thought that there was like animosity, but it seemed like he still had a lot of love for Mark and Travis, uh, which I felt good to hear. Felt good to hear.
Yeah, yeah. I have, I mean, like Mark says stuff like, "Oh, I still talk to Tom," and like Thomas said stuff. So it's like, you see like a comment on like an Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh, thank God, like they're still friends at least." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
'cause I don't want a world
exactly.
where they hate each other. I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah,
But I will say,
exactly.
Angels and Airwaves was awesome because I saw them on that same tour. I think Cleveland was a little before
Hmm.
that article came out, but I was like, it was really good. Like the whole show was awesome. The light show they had and
Yeah,
sounded great.
lights sounded great. I think Tom sounded really good. I think his
Yeah,
voice sounded really good that night, and
yeah,
the new stuff sounds very good.
yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, I was
I
a
liked he did a little Blink stuff. I don't know if I'm sure he does it every show, but it was very nice to hear
hmm
some acoustic Blink songs.
yeah, he did that at the New York show.
Yeah,
Also, that was
yeah.
pretty cool to see. Um, I also because I've listened through to Light Years like all the stuff I could find. I really enjoyed the most recent album, Afterlife. If I don't know if this was intentional, but the first couple songs, I felt like there was some like replacements influences. Uh,
Okay.
Kind of like there was
I
a
can
little
see
bit more of
that.
that like
Yeah,
raucous kind of like sloppy, dirty rock and roll kind of
yeah.
feel to some of the early stuff on the
When
album.
we were writing that record, a lot like I was kind of only listening to like the Gaslight Anthem. If you ever mess with them, but like,
Oh, I love them. I flew to Chicago
dude,
only to see them.
let's go. They're the best band, second
There's
to Blink. But I was like, maybe there's a way to like do this kind of rock with like pop punk vibe. I mean, that
mm-hmm.
was like the lead song there back then is just like kind of that vibe. But I know our drummer really likes the Replacements. I dabbled with them, the hits.
Mm-hmm.
We always joked about we always wanted to cover "Can't Hardly Wait," that song they have, but
Yep, that's a good song.
everyone's done that now, so I think we're too late. But I do like that you heard that because a lot of people always just when that came out, a lot of people were just like, "Oh, sounds like Blink, whatever." I was like, "No, it's supposed to sound like we're ripping someone else off now. Like, stop." So that's cool that you picked up on that. Yeah, so it's supposed to be more like rock and just kind of straightforward, you know,
Yeah,
things.
man. I definitely picked up on that. I thought that was that was a very cool stylistic choice. I would definitely
Yeah.
when shows happen again, I would hope some of those songs get into the set list because there's some cool vibes there. It also kind of I don't know if you listen to beach slang at all.
Dude, yes. Yes. Love them.
Yeah,
Because someone told me it sounds like a dirtier Gaslight, and I was like, "Well, I gotta listen to this." And it is. Like, I really, really, really like them.
yeah, they're great, and they're I guess they had a third album come out recently that I think they leaned pretty hard on the into the classic rock influences. Um,
Okay.
but
I
yeah,
haven't checked it out. Yeah.
it's pretty excellent. I love them too. I saw them in at the Knitting Factory around Halloween. They covered "Pleased to Meet Me" by the Replacements from front to back.
Okay.
It was like a cover show. It
Oh,
was
damn.
really cool
Yeah.
to see that because it they kind of like it didn't it wasn't weird. Like you could totally see them like playing those songs. Like it
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That'd be
and
cool to see.
oh, dude, it was very cool. And Lightspeed just put out a single recently. Yes,
What's up?
and you
We did a Gaslight cover. We did it during quarantine. We recorded a 59 sound. We kind of like I did guitars. I literally just sang into my computer and sent it to each member, and we did a little tambourine. It was just like it was for our label did a benefit for God, why is it not coming out of my mouth? It's a benefit
Oh, I think
Oh my god.
I was talking about I Met You on Halloween. I didn't know that you did a Gaslight
Oh
cover.
shoot. Yeah, yeah. My bad. But yeah, we did that cover. That came out recently. I Met You on Halloween actually came out last October. It was a B-side
Mm.
from Afterlife. It just didn't, we just kind of sat on it and then made a funny little video. And so now it's October, so I'll just keep posting it. Every October, you can count on it now.
Totally.
But yeah, that song was cool. Yeah, it was fun. Just like a fun little song.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Like, yeah, if we can, this might be a great way to start coming in for Landy. Like Gaslight Anthem, I am vibing so hard on how so many of our influences are exactly the same.
Nice.
Pat, I'm really
Yes.
digging this. Um, if I had to, yeah, like 59 Sound is like I caught the
It's
reunion
perfect.
tour for it's a perfect album, and
Yeah.
those are so rare. But when you find them for yourself, even if like maybe you're only a few other people agree, it's again so amazing. Like every song on that album is necessary, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful,
I actually I drove all the way out to Boston to see one of those. They did
nice.
the reunion tour. It was so good. You know what I mean? It was
Mm-hmm.
sick. So I'm very glad I did that. They played the whole thing, and then they literally played for like another like 2 hours. It felt like they played so many songs. It was so cool. But yeah, I think 59 Sound is it's like yeah, undeniable. It's so good. Such a cool band. And I mean, I really like all their stuff actually, but that's
Mm-hmm.
obviously the crowning jewel of their discography for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Handwritten is pretty high up there for me as well,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
absolutely. N- Another. This is going to be a weird jumping off point. From 59 Sound, but the talking about them kind of made me think about it. I don't know if you heard Hot Mulligan's latest record.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Th-
No.
they put it out right before the world imploded. But
Gotcha.
that one was another banger. It sounds like a pop punk band recording through an indie rock band's setup because it sounds like they're
Okay.
using lots of like I don't know Fender twin reverbs and
Yeah.
like overdrives instead of distortion is a really
Yeah.
interesting take on the songs. And
All right.
if I ever talk to those dudes, I'm gonna ask them about that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll check it out. I need some new music. I
absolutely,
just
man.
listen to Enema Day and 59 Sound, I guess. That's all I listen to.
Well, you can. Those are eternally excellent
Yeah.
records to spin constantly. Is there an album that you really love that you don't think enough people know about that I should check out?
Um, Afterlife by Light Years, for sure.
Definitely, I would
Uh,
recommend that. I would agree with
yes,
that
thank you.
100%.
I was into there's all like there's this band they're called First to Leave. I saw them randomly open for fireworks in like 2010, 9, I don't
Hmm.
remember. But they had this record called Forging a Future, and it sounds like Saves the Day, like early Saves the Day. I don't know whatever happened to them. I don't know like if they broke up or just no one cared. But it is one of my favorite records, and it's like it's super through being cool. You should check it out. I think they were from California. I don't know. They're kind of like a mystery to me because it was like pre social media being a huge thing.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like you can't really just go back. But they're on Spotify. It's called Forging a Future. I listen to it a lot. And people like I work at a pizza place and I put it on and my one friend's like, "Oh, is this like what Saves a Day record is this?" I'm like, "No, it's not." But they're really cool. And I don't think they got enough love. Or they might have just didn't want to, you know? It's
Excellent.
kind of
Well,
cool.
yeah, because I feel like some bands they just kind of they're around for a while and like you might see them or you have a shirt and then they just kind of vanish into the ether and then they
Yeah,
show up
it's just
and then
yeah.
they always show up as like they're managing other bands or like
Yeah.
or get like they're all still involved, which I'm always relieved to see.
Yeah.
But it's weird how that can happen sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's like also, I mean, like being around it a lot, it's like, why did this band is the one that everyone liked? You know what I mean? Like, and then this band,
Yeah,
maybe I'm,
I know
you know what I mean? It's just,
exactly
it
what you mean.
seems like it's just like, this is the band you're supposed to like. Everybody like X, you know what I mean? Not this band. I don't know. That,
Yeah,
I mean, it might be a industry thing, but I don't know.
yeah. Well, if what I've learned, what I'm my feelings on the industry, because you watch a couple of like record labels are evil kind of videos on YouTube
Yeah,
or
yeah,
and then
yeah,
but then even just like to hear you describe like making the no pressure EP, it's just like outside of and I have this same thing with comedy a lot as well, because being a comedian in New York, I've had like good friends tell me like you don't have enough TV credits to do this particular show, or you just bomb at open mics in front of a bunch of comedians checking their phones for a couple years
yeah,
when I first got here.
yeah.
Like all of that, all of the other like working parts that in between you getting on stage and doing and performing for people, like, but when you get to like just let some songs rip and then put them together with friends just for the fuck of it, or you get on stage and like, or when I get on stage and like I get a good laugh, or I've done a couple Zoom things in quarantine. That's like the kernel of the magic that is easy to get away from, but very hard not to forget.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just like, yeah, why you don't start a band when you're in high school because you want to be on the Billboard chart. I don't know, maybe you do, but like it's just like
Mm-hmm.
I have to play these songs. You know what I mean? Like I have like I heard on the state and I was like, this is what is gonna happen. This is what has to come out of me. And so yeah, you're right. I think it's like a lot of times you lose sight of, oh shit, like why do I even do that? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but just getting to put out a song and then like damn, I made this. It's out there. That is the very coolest thing you could do. You know what I mean? It lasts forever,
Yeah.
technically. You know what I mean? As long as this earth is here. But you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like yeah, very, very, very cool. I think you definitely nailed it. I'm sure it's the same for comedy stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And then because I also spent a lot of time in theater, like you have those like crazy moment live moments that you can't replicate. But then like, yeah, whenever I put like videos, a video out or like stuff that I an episode of this show, it's that same kind of thing. It's that rush of showing people your creativity or something. You're like, look, I made this.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Is there any are there any plans for Light Years to do anything else? Like, are you going to do any recording in the near future?
I believe so. The plan is to maybe do an EP. We've kind of been able to get back to practicing in our friends, our drummer's basement. But
Mm-hmm.
'cause for a while, we didn't, see each other at all. But yeah, we've been writing. Every time I pick up a guitar, I write something. With most 90% of the time sucks, but I think as long as we're also friends, light years will be a thing. We kind of have trudged through a lot of shit and
Yeah.
kind of just know it's something that we're just gonna do. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the days of being like, oh, maybe we can open for blah. Like, who cares anymore? But it's just like this is what we do. You're my best friends. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we still get opportunities, which I'm very thankful for. But I think the plan is to do some recording, hopefully play a show, maybe go back to Japan. Fingers crossed, best
Mm-hmm.
place. But yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just like all I know how to do. So we're gonna keep going, I guess.
Awesome, man. Well, Pat, I'm glad that you're in a good place despite the state of the world, and I feel
Yeah,
I feel like you're in your optimistic outlook on things, and
yeah,
I hope I want good things for you and for your band. So
man.
I hope that if you ever need a tall roadie or merch person for
Hey,
that Japan tour, I
yeah.
say this to every band like that
Right,
that that
right.
that
Yeah,
does
that's
that
how
does
it
Japan.
happens.
Yeah, man. So, is there anything else we can plug before we get out here?
Yeah, got Light Years. I think No Pressure. We're working on actually making a physical 7-inch for the EP,
Awesome,
which is also DIY, doing it ourselves. But
cool,
so who knows when that'll happen? But we're working on it. And yeah, other than that, that's it. That's all I'm doing.
awesome. Well, listener, if you love pop punk or punk rock music, you will enjoy Light Years. So definitely listen to them. And thanks for talking to me, Pat. This was really enjoyable.
Dude,
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Absolutely, dude. Anytime you got something coming out, let me know. I'd love to talk to you again.
Cool. For sure, man.
Awesome. Thank you. It all comes back to Tom DeLonge. That is especially true for me. It's true for Pat, and I imagine there's a few more of you out there that feel the same way. So I would love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this and wanna share this with other people you know and care about, we are available wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music as well. And thank you to my guest, Pat Kennedy. I sincerely appreciate your time and candor. If you guys love pop punk, you should definitely check out his band Light Years. You also need to definitely check out, if you have not heard it yet, the No Pressure EP is available wherever you get your music. It's a excellent, like, under 10-minute blast of pop punk, and it is incredibly enjoyable. So thank you guys again for being here. I also want to let you guys know, if you want to get a free month of Stitcher Premium when you sign up, you can use the promo code AWESOME at stitcher.com/premium. Use the promo code AWESOME, and your first month of your Stitcher Premium subscription is free. I also want to give a shout out to my supporter on Patreon at the awesome producer level, Mary Beth Mooney. Thank you so much for your support. I sincerely appreciate it. And if you guys are curious, you can go to patreon.com/awesomedisaster. Check out some of the exclusive content that I'm making over there. And as always, I appreciate you guys for listening, because I am just one person in a sea of humans on the internet trying to connect, and I'm doing that one episode at a time. And it means a lot that you're here for that. So thank you guys again for listening, and I'll see you next time between Awesome and Disaster. Stay safe and wear a mask.